All right, welcome back. I'm going to continue with part 4 of my Wild Networking RFC series. I'm reading RFC 9082, which is it's pretty interesting RFC. There's a protocol called the Whois protocol, WHOIS. And what that protocol does is, I learned about this when I was in networking school for the first time. And then in some of my professional experience, I had to make sure the information that would be associated with this protocol was up to date and correct. Because what this protocol does is, if you have a device on the internet, you need to know who owns that device, like where is the device located. It basically is a protocol to make it so that the pieces that make up the internet have some kind of identifying information. So let's read a little bit more about it, because as I said, I learned about this all the way back in networking school, and then this was kind of a focal point for me more early on in my career. So here's the Wikipedia definition, which I usually like to go to right away. Whois is a query and response protocol that is widely used for querying databases that store the registered users or assignees of an internet resource, such as a domain name, an IP address block, or an autonomous system. But it's also used for a wider range of information. So that's Wikipedia. Wikipedia isn't going to be the official source of information. The official place that I actually used on the job is this. Actually, I believe I used Aaron.net. Yeah, and then I would search on here. Let's pick a random public IP address. So I'm going to do 172. Now the class B private space is a /12. So we can actually do 172.32.0.0. And that's a public space. So let's see who owns that space. Okay, so we get the Whois information back here, and we can see that space is owned by T-Mobile. So this is what the RDAP protocol, Registration Data Access Protocol, is trying to optimize and replace. There are some disadvantages to Whois that RDAP can correct. And Whois is one of these very, very old protocols. Well, I'd like to say one more thing about Whois. So here's the RFC for Whois. We can already kind of get a sense for how old it is by how low this number is here. So this was first specified in 2004. So we're almost 20 years since the initial introduction of this. So it's definitely time for an update. And we can also see that this service here looks like it's actually already using some aspects of this new RDAP protocol that is meant to replace Whois. So I'd like to see, I'm going to do a Control F and see how RDAP is written here. So it looks like we've got it showing up under that section there. So let's click on that. So yeah, let's read this, because this is the clearest in the wild documentation for how RDAP is being used today. So Registry Data Access Protocol, RDAP, is a Whois alternative for querying resource registration data from domain name registries, DNRs, and regional internet registries, RIRs, like ARIN. So ARIN is a regional internet registry, and it's for the North American region, I believe. So let's Google this and let's see what some of the other regions are. So here we go. This is the map I was looking for. We can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions. We've got ARIN covering the region that I'm in, and then we've got other ones that have perhaps better naming. I'm not sure what this acronym stands for, but my favorite one is the AFRINIC, because it's very clear that they're talking about the continent of Africa here. Yeah, this one looks a little bit better too, because then you can kind of recognize these symbols here, these these symbols here, and get a sense for which region you're in by what symbols you're seeing pop up on your browser. Yep, that looks very familiar. We can see that symbol is in the tab here, because this is the region and I probably shouldn't be having my public IP address show up there like that. It's probably fine. It's fine. I think. I'm not sure. I don't have anything posted. I don't know what to do. Well, shoot. I think it's fine. I don't have any ports live or anything like that, so I don't have any, and not only that, like, that's not even necessarily my IP address right now, depending on when you're watching it, because those IP addresses are handed out via the ISP, part of a DNS pool. So that's not necessarily always going to be my IPv4 address anyway. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to continue reading this. I want to read this whole thing. We're gonna stop here once we're understanding bootstrapping. We don't care about that so much. So even though I already read this part, I'll read it again. Overview: Registry Data Access Protocol. RDAP is a WHOIS alternative for querying resource registration data from domain name registries, DNRs, and regional internet registries, RIRs, like ARIN, and we saw there were 5 other RIRs. And then within an RIR, there's DNRs, I believe. When you use RDAP clients to query registration data, responses are delivered in JavaScript object notation, JSON, format instead of text provided by WHOIS. So already right there, that's a big advantage for using RDAP instead of WHOIS. The format you get back can get imported into software a lot easier. When you use the search site or WHOIS and database software databases, when it comes to being read by a machine, JSON has a lot more advantages to it than does plain text. And when it comes to be read by a person, JSON doesn't necessarily have disadvantages compared to plain text. So typically it's better to use JSON than it is plain text. If you're a Python coder like me, you can convert valid JSON formats directly to a Python dictionary and then code to your heart's content on it, and it makes coding really, really easy if it's in JSON format or YAML. Any format like that, it's easy to actually bring the data into the code. When you use the search site or WHOIS feature or use HTTPS, yeah, for whois queries. So we can see we actually, so yeah, let me go here. Okay, so let's do that same query I did up here again. Okay, we get our space by T-Mobile. But we can see they already took down the whois protocol on the ARIN regional internet registry. They're only using RADP now already, which I think is kind of interesting that they were able to do it so fast. I mean, I guess 5 years is a long time, but I mean, that's not necessarily true. Okay, so when you use the search site or whois feature, or use that link for whois queries, RDAP responses are returned in formatted HTML. So let's take a look under the hood at what that response is going to look like. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to network. Now we're going to see if there's any exchange of traffic between the device at this URL and my device. It will show up here. So there will be, once I hit that search. Okay, so here's the exchange of traffic. We got these three things. It looks like we got a Google Analytics ping. We got a our ADP-bootstrap link here. And it looks like the request was redirected. So this is ultimately what we got back. And let me see if I can find a data. So yep. So we got back JSON. Here's our JSON response here in this response tab. This preview tab looks like it tries to format it a bit. I prefer just looking right at the JSON. And then if you want to program with it, I typically find one of the easiest ways to do that is to just screen scrape it, open a terminal, and drop it in. And then if you're working on anything more serious for programming, you can open up your IDE and really kind of get down into the details. But I'll just show just how easy it is to take a JSON payload like this and make it so that you can code using the data in that payload. Okay, so I've got Python 3.8 here. I'm going to import the JSON module. I'm going to save the text I have under temp. All right, so now I've got, if I do a type on temp, I've got a string. So I want to convert that to a Python dictionary. So to do that, it's really easy. Because I'm using Python and because I have the data in JSON format, all I need to do is say my data equals JSON.loads temp. Or is it dot load? Or is it, wait, dumps? Oh, that turned it into a string. So I think it's going to be dot loads, and this could be dot encode UTF-8. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. I've been in this sauna longer than I typically can handle. My shot is not ideal right now. It looks like I'm making some like black hat security exploit video or something like that. Apologize for that. It's just because the sun went down as I started this video. So I'm gonna pause it, get out of this sauna, and come back and continue with this. All right, I'm back. I think this is a much better look for me than a black hacker. Maybe I look like a white hacker now, but even best, maybe I don't look like a hacker at all, because we're here to learn about network engineering. Not to say that I'll just never do security stuff on this channel. It's just, for me, like right now, I mean, this was kind of a big thing in my degree when I went to school for to launch a career in computers. I had to decide what track I wanted to do. Did I want to do IT security? Did I want to do IT networking? Did I want to do software development? And I chose IT networking just because I felt like I really needed like a challenge, and I just kind of heard that it was the most challenging program. So I just felt like I really wanted to be challenged. So I took what I thought was the most challenging program. And I've always been kind of interested in security. It seems like it's a field with a lot of demand and a lot of really interesting work. But I just never really went down that path. So maybe that is in the future for me. I definitely know a fair bit about security just by learning about other things, but that's probably not going to be a priority on this channel for a while, unfortunately, unless there's a huge demand from the audience, you know, learn security because security is amazing and we love it. I'd be willing to shift courses if that was to change directions if that were the case, so let me know. So I was doing some demonstrations of just some of the basics of Python, which you can see here. Almost seem to be like escaping me right now. I'm not sure. I always forget if it's dumps or loads. So it looks like it can't be. Oh, I know what I need to do. So I need to say JSON data, JSON, or let's see here. So temp is a string, so I can do data equals temp. What if I do dict? Okay, let me look this up here. The other thing I can do is do a help on JSON. There we go. So now I can see dumps will do it to a string, and then lots of good examples on here. So I think I'll leave it there because that's kind of the main takeaway. You can use this JSON module to explore the data, and unfortunately the way I do it is perhaps a little bit antiquated at this point, but we can see if you're good at using that help function, you've got all the examples in the world just ready to go for you to use. And then, of course, if that's not enough, you can go to Google. But that's, I find, kind of better to have as a kind of a second course of action if you're kind of out of ideas. It's better to do a help first because you're more often to get, you're more likely to get a relevant documentation. And then if you Google, the best documentation you find is probably just this output anyways. So that's my recommendation for that. Okay, so the last part of this section here, the overview. RDAP works so that it queries additional RIRs and registrars to obtain some information. Other organizations may collect data that ARIN does not, or contain data that is named, formatted, or displayed differently than ARIN's data. Checking the source registry field or the footer in the search results will help identify the specific RIR or registrar where the data originates and explain differences in content and format. For a full listing of possible results returned in an RDAP query, visit that. JSON responses for the... That's interesting. Is that right? Huh. Oh, I see. So it looks like this was obsoleted in, for some reason, in 2021. Okay, so this is actually a bit older than I thought. Okay, it's just been updated this year, so it's been out there for a while. Okay, how does RDAP differ from WHOIS? RDAP is an HTTP-based REST-style protocol with standardized responses specified in JSON, whereas WHOIS is a text-based protocol utilizing a specialized protocol endpoint. So to put that more simply, in the simplest possible terms, RDP gives you pretty-looking URLs like here, that are more standardized and kind of easy to look through and easy to kind of guess what the output is. And it gives you back this pretty payload here. With the WHOIS protocol, the URL is going to look like a sloppy mess. It's going to be impossible to work with and remember and use. And then the data you get back is also going to be a sloppy mess. And if you want to do any kind of programming, good luck with that WHOIS protocol. You're going to have a much better time with RDAP. RDAP meets the industry-accepted definition for a web-based RESTful protocol. It serves JSON responses over HTTP/HTTPS using URLs to distinguish various resources. The only HTTP methods used by RDAP are head and get. And that makes sense because RDAP is registration access, registration data access protocol. So it's for accessing that data. To modify it, you have to do that through the through the registrar, the body responsible for having that information set. So you wouldn't want the protocol to have the ability to change that information, because then anyone could just say that they were anyone else. It has to be read-only. RDAP response data objects are easily translated into languages other than English, whereas WHOIS response data objects may not be. That's a good point as well. RDAP responses offer direct referrals to other RIRs, whereas WHOIS defines no queries or responses, and interaction with DNRs and RIRs can vary significantly. Okay, this looks kind of interesting, but it looks like we'll... yeah, it looks like it's a little bit off topic here, so I just want to keep the part for this video going in this series. The goal of this series is to read through as many RFCs as I can in an effort to kind of get an evolutionary kind of view of my career, my field, my career, so that I can see how things change over time, and to kind of learn as much lore and kind of have a more widespread understanding of my field, and be able to basically not know that much about something, but to kind of know basically there's no missing pieces of the puzzle at the service level. Basically, I know what a car is, I know it has an engine, I know it has a steering wheel, I know it has wheels, I know it has a trunk, I know it has seat belts. But can I build the engine? Perhaps not. Can I change a wheel? Perhaps not. But I know that all those components are there. I think right now I kind of have a view where I know every part of the engine in and out. I can take it apart, I put it together, but I don't even know that cars have seats inside of them. So this is an effort to kind of change that a little bit, because I think that can be limiting as far as moving forward my career, and kind of pigeonhole me and kind of put me in situations where it's surprising that I don't know things that a lot of other people consider to be like pretty basic things. Like, I want to avoid that. Okay, so we're starting section 4, query processing. Servers indicate the success or failure of query processing by returning an appropriate HTTP response code to the client. Response codes are not specifically identified in this document. Response codes that are not specifically identified in this document are described in RFC 7480. Okay, so I'll do the same thing I did in my other videos, I think, unless I forgot to do it. No, I didn't. Okay, I did it. Where I'll put down all the background lore RFCs and then make a similar description. I have to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Section 4.1, partial string searching. Partial string searching uses the asterisk character to match 0 or more trailing characters. A character string representing a domain level suffix may be concatenated to the end of the search pattern to limit the scope of the search. For example, the search pattern exam star, which is exam star. I think the quotes are just showing that it's a string of characters. Will match example.com or .net. The search pattern examplestar.com will match example.com. If an asterisk appears in a search string, any label that contains a non-asterisk characters in sequence plus 0 or more characters in sequence in place of the asterisk would match. A partial string search must not include more than one asterisk. Additional pattern matching processing is beyond the scope of this specification. Okay, so I'm familiar with something called regular expressions. I don't think this is that. I think it's just, it has a special wildcard character. It doesn't have support for full regular expressions, though. If a server receives a search request but cannot process the request because it does not support a particular style of partial match searching, it should return an HTTP 422 unprocessable entity, RFC 4918. Response, unless another response code is more appropriate based on a server's policy settings. To note that search functionality is supported, but this particular query cannot be processed. When returning a 422 error, the server may also return an error response body as specified in section 8 of 9083 if the requested media type is one specified in 4780 here. Okay, and this one is, I think, the next one I will focus on. So I will open this one up. Oops, and I don't want it in PDF, I want it in HTML. There we go. Yeah, and this one's just examples, so I'm not sure what I'll do with this one when I go over it. It might be a different kind of video where I just skim. I do a lot of skimming in some of my book reading videos. Partial matching is not feasible across combinations of Unicode characters because Unicode characters can be combined with each other. Servers should not partially match combinations of Unicode characters where a legal combination is possible. It should be noted, though, that it may not always be possible to detect cases where a character could have been combined with another character, but was not, because characters can be combined in many different ways. Clients should not submit a partial match search of Unicode characters where a Unicode character may be legally combined with another Unicode character or characters. Partial match searches with incomplete combinations of characters where a character must be combined with another character or characters are invalid. Partial match searches with characters that may be combined with another character or characters are to be considered non-combined characters. That is, if character X may be combined with character Y, but character Y is not submitted in the search string, then character X is a complete character and no combinations of character X are to be searched. So kind of confused by that, but this is kind of one of the main reasons I'm focusing on RFCs. If I ever get confused about this partial string searching, I know where to go and look it up and read this more carefully. Right now I'm just trying to get like an overview of things. Alright, so I'll move down to section 4.2, associated records. Conceptually, any query matching record in a server's database might be a member of a set of related records, related in some fashion as defined by the server. For example, variants of an IDN. The entire set ought to be considered as candidates for inclusion when constructing the response. However, the construction of the final response needs to be mindful of privacy and other data releasing policies when assembling the Rdap response set. Note that due to the nature of searching, there may be a list of query matching records. Each one of those is subject to being a member of a set as described in the previous paragraph. What is ultimately returned in a response will be the union of all the sets that has been filtered by whatever policies are in place. Note that this model includes arrangements for associated names, including those that are linked by policy mechanisms and names bound together for some other purposes. Note also that returning information that was not explicitly selected by an exact match lookup including additional names that match a relatively fuzzy search, as well as lists of names that are linked together, may cause privacy issues. Note that there might not be a single static information return policy that applies to all clients equally. Client identity and associated authorizations can be a relevant factor in determining how broad the response set will be for any particular query. Okay, so 5 is really short, so I'm going to stop this video at section 6. Section 5 is extensibility. This document describes path segment specifications for a limited number of objects commonly registered in both RIRs and DNRs. So this is regional internet registries and domain name registries. It does not attempt to describe path segments for all the objects registered in all registries. Custom path segments can be created for objects not specified here using the process described in section 6 of HTTP usage in the Registration Data Access Protocol, RDAP. Got that open there. Custom path segments can be created by prefixing the segment with a unique identifier followed by an underscore character. For example, a custom entity path segment could be created by prefixing entity with custom underscore, producing custom underscore entity. Servers must return an appropriate failure status code for a request with an unrecognized path segment. Okay, so we're very nearly at the end here of reading here, but I think I want to finish that up in another video. I'm at the half an hour mark here, and I'm honestly not really feeling it tonight. So the fact that I did this much is pretty awesome. Kind of tempted to power through and just finish it up, the whole thing, just because then I would be done with it. But I don't know if that's always a good idea, because sometimes just powering through just makes you absolutely hate it. So yeah, I think I've got enough in this video for tonight. So that's gonna be it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one, which will be part 5, and in that video I'll make sure to finish reading this RFC.